What's going on, everybody on YouTube? I hope you are having a fantastic day. If you're new to the channel, my name is Ryan and I love cars. Thank you so much for tuning in to another video, because today we're going to be talking about the top 8 things that I hate about my 2019 Subaru WRX. Let's go. Now, today's the day that I actually returned this vehicle. Due to my financial situation before college, I actually opted to lease this vehicle. And that's why it's a 2019, not say a used 2015, or what I really wanted, which was a 2014 STI hatchback. But nevertheless, this vehicle has gotten me through so many different situations, college, just to say the least, I guess. However, today we're going to be talking about the things that I absolutely hated about this car. And yes, there are quite a few. So just to let you guys know, this list is actually in order from sort of the least annoying things to the most annoying things. So I'm going to start off with number 10, which is actually the clock. Now, the clock on this vehicle actually doesn't ever stay accurate. For some reason, it's always speeding up and it always is too fast. Now, sorry about the glare, but as you guys can see here, it's 12:34. And up here, which is the actual vehicle clock, it says that it is 12:37. For some reason, this vehicle's clock always seems to speed up, and no matter how many times I actually reset it, it sort of always goes back to, the sped up time. As you can see, now it's 12:35, and up there it's 12:38. So no matter how many times I reset this clock, it always seems to just speed up and be fast. And so this is not necessarily annoying, but it's kind of a bother because I never actually have the accurate time. Thank God for the Apple CarPlay in this car, because if it wasn't for that, then I would actually never know the accurate time. Which brings me to number 9, which is that sometimes when I start up this vehicle, the Apple CarPlay actually doesn't work. And sometimes I would pretty much just plug in my phone and then just start driving. I'm only 2 blocks away from, the closest highway. And so I figure by the time I get on the highway, when I'm stuck at the red light, I'll just punch in the address. And, sometimes it doesn't work. And what it takes to get it working is turning off the car completely and turning it back on. And at a red light, that's not necessarily the best idea, because people behind you are just going to honk like crazy, and you can possibly get into an accident or something like that. Now, next up is the sound system on this car. I can't necessarily show you guys because I don't want to get flagged for copyright. However, I'll tell you that all the way on max, which is for some reason 38, which is such a weird number to be, a max number on the radio. But yeah, the sound system in this car is really not the best. And what I actually did to sort of fix that is that I actually had to go into the settings, which I'll show you right now, and sort of, put everything on max. As you can see, it has the bass, the mid, and the treble all the way on max, which is 9. And so when you do that, you risk blowing out your speakers. But that's the only way that I found online to actually make your sound system better, without actually paying for an aftermarket sound system. And this is pretty annoying because no matter what, the sound system on this car is pretty bad. And I heard that even if you get the upgraded sound system with the 9 speakers, which I actually don't have, that the audio still isn't that great. It's not any better than, the one that I have on this car. Now, the next thing that I hate about this car is that it comes with summer tires. And yeah, I guess a lot of performance cars come with summer tires now, but the problem here is that this car is all-wheel drive. And this is a car that most people are going to drive in the winter time. And so pretty much the summer tires in the winter kind of cancel out the all-wheel drive system. So you're kind of slipping and sliding everywhere. And when I tell you that these things are actually literally hockey pucks in the winter, I mean it. They are literally hockey pucks, and you're literally sliding all over the place. I actually swapped them out for some all seasons. But yeah, if you have this car and you just bought it in the winter time, I would definitely recommend switching the tires out for some all seasons, or maybe just some winter tires to get that maximum grip. Now, the next thing that I hate about this car is its crazy dashboard glare. Now, I've tried everything to sort of get rid of this. I've tried interior dressing, I've tried other detailing products to sort of give it that matte finish. However, nothing truly gets rid of the crazy dashboard glare that this car has. Now, don't get me wrong, a lot of other cars I know have way worse dashboard glare than this. And if your dashboard is made of, plastic material, it's going to have a glare, because that plastic is going to reflect the sunlight back onto the windshield. However, This car, it just bothers me. That's not something that I like at all because it just bothers my visibility both in the daytime and also at nighttime when street lights are sort of shining inside of the vehicle. Now next up at number 6 is actually the really bad road noise problem that this car has. I never really realized sort of how bad it was until I actually sat in other vehicles. I mean, my mom's 2008 Honda Pilot has, pretty much the same amount, if not less, road noise than this vehicle has, and that car is 10 years older. I don't know what kind of insulation they use, if they use any at all, but you hear anything and everything in this car. And this is especially bad when you go on road trips and stuff, because you're hearing the outside so much. And this might be why the sound system actually sounds not that great. Pretty much because the sound is sort of escaping outside of the vehicle due to the lack of insulation, rather than actually staying inside and you actually hearing it. But yeah, this car has crazy road noise, and if that's not something that you like, or not something that you're okay with, because no one actually likes road noise, then maybe I'd say steer away from this car and look for something more, I guess, luxurious, because luxurious is not this car's strong suit or, any sort of characteristic at all. Now coming back outside of the vehicle, the next thing that I hate at number 7 is actually something wrong with the trunk. And no, I don't mean that the only two ways to open the trunk is either inside the cabin or here on the key fob. I literally mean that there's a problem with the trunk. Let me go show you. This is broken, and this is broken. This trunk is so hard to close. I don't know what's wrong with, this latch, I guess, here, or maybe this one. So when it comes to closing this trunk, you literally have to slam it. And when you slam it, it causes the taillights to crack. This is horrible for your taillights because this means that there's an opening in there and water can get in there, which eventually can cause headlight failure or mold or water buildup or something like that. And that's not something you want on a pretty much brand new vehicle that, you're actually returning today, like me. Okay, so number 8 and number 9 on this list are sort of a duo. They go hand in hand because they are obviously how stiff the seats are and how stiff the suspension is. Now, this car absolutely is not a car you want to take on a road trip. I just got back from a 5-hour road trip from Maryland, and my back is still killing me after 3 days of resting. These seats are so unbelievably uncomfortable that it's not even funny, and they're not even the optional Recaros. I opted for the cloth seats rather than the leather seats, but I don't think that the leather seats would have been pretty much that better. These seats are just so uncomfortable and so hard, and I'm going to show you right now. So this is the passenger seat, and I mean, yeah, it might seem a little bit, I guess, plush. Yeah, not really. They're just pretty hard, and like I said, they're not even the optional Recaros. And the number one complaint that I get from people who, ride in this car isn't actually the number one thing on this list. It's actually this one, which is that the seats are so uncomfortable. And that actually goes hand in hand with number 9, which is the suspension. The suspension is one of the most popular things that people change on this car, and for good reason. They either put coilovers or lowering springs, but most of the time coilovers, and sometimes even bags, pretty much just because the suspension is very, very stiff. It's rally suspension after all, because this is, I guess, rally car. Now the very last thing that I hate about this car right here is how heavy it's gotten over the years. This car used to be light, nimble, and pretty tossable. This car in particular, the 4th generation WRX, is not at all. You guys obviously know how BMW 3 Series and 5 Series and, just cars in general have gotten way bigger over the years. Over the past few years, the United States has continuously added more regulation and more airbags in vehicles because, people are getting hurt more and they're getting into more accidents, and so they want people to be safe. I get it. Anyways, this increase in regulation has made this car weigh 3,500 pounds, just about, which is insanely heavy for a sports sedan. This overall brings the 0 to 60 down, brings the top speed down, and it makes a lot of people say like, hey, this car isn't really fast. A lot of people think it's fast. A lot of people, you know, think of it as, oh, it's a sports car, it's gonna be a fast car. Well, it's actually not. And I actually had a friend of mine drive this, and he told me, this is a WRX. It's kind of embarrassing how underpowered it is. And you realistically pay for, I guess, $30,000 or so for, you know, 260 horsepower. Yeah, that's not a great deal. And that's the main problem here, is that they haven't added the power to sort of compensate for the weight. BMW has done that. A lot of other car companies have done that. But this car, Subaru in general, just hasn't done that. Anyways, the next generation WRX is supposed to be being revealed pretty soon, by the end of the year, hopefully. And I just honestly hope that they add more horsepower to it, because the WRX is sort of getting stale. Anyways, guys, once again, my name is Ryan, and I love cars. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Please browse the channel and subscribe. Hit that like button, and hopefully I'll see you next week, where I will be revealing my brand new car. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.